اللهم بلغنا رمضان، اللهم بلغنا رمضان ووفقنا فيه للصيام والقيام، واجعلنا فيه من عتقائك من النار برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Inshallah, we are starting today ayat number 282, Suratul Baqarah. And this ayah is about AYAT E DAYN, means loan or debt. And we will learn the necessity of writing transactions that take effects later on. And witnesses should attend the dictation of contracts. We will learn all the details about this, inshallah. So let's start. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem amma ba'd. Fa'auzu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi zidna ilma, Allahumma ihdi qalbi wa saddid lisani waslul sakhimata qalbi. Rabbi zidna ilma, Ameen, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Okay, let's start. Ayat number 282, word-to-word translation, Suratul Baqarah. Ya ayyuha, O you, alladhina, those who, amanu, they believed, iza, when, tadayantum, you all contracted a debt from one another, bidainin, with a debt, ila, so, ajalin, a term, period, musamman, one fixed, appointed, determined, faktubuhu, for then, uktub, you write down, faktubuhu, who is it, and tubu, you, uktubu, you all write down. Okay, wow, so shows us the plural. Faktubuhu, then you all write down it. Who is it is pronoun. Wal yaktub wa, and al yaktub, he should write, bainakum, baina, between, kum, you all, katibun, a scribe, one who writes, bil adli, be with al adl, the equitable justice, wa, and la, should not, yaba, he refused, katibun, a scribe, one who writes, and that, yaktuba, he writes, kama, just as, allamahu, allama, he taught, means Allah taught, who, him, allamahu, he taught him, Allahu, Allah, fal yaktub, first, so, al yaktub, he should write, fal yaktub, so, he should write, wa, and, wal yumlil, he should dictate, alladhi, who, alayhi, Allah, upon, he, him, al-haqqu, the haqq, right, wal yattaqi, wa, and al yattaqi, he should fear, Allah, 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 Rabbahu, Rabb, Rabb is Rabb, who, Rabb is Rabb, sustainer, who, his, Rabbahu, his Rabb, sustainer, wa, and la, not, should not, la, should not, yabkhas, he decrease, diminish, curtail, minhu, min, from, who, it, shay'an, anything, fa, so, in, if, fa, in, so, if, kana, he was, alladhi, who, alayhi, Allah, upon, he, him, alayhi, is upon him, al-haqqu, the haqq, the right, safihan, one, foolish. And you have read this word, sufaha, the plural of safihan is sufaha, in second juz, Sayaqulu sufahau, right? That you have read this word, you know this word. So safihan is singular and sufaha is plural, foolish, one foolish. Au or daifan, one weak. Au or la, not. Yastatiu, he is able to, capable. This is a long ayah, right? And that, but very important ayah. Yumilla, he dictates. Huwa, he himself. Fal yumlil, so yumlil, he should dictate. Waliyuhu, his guardian. Waliyu, guardian, who, his. Bil adli, be in with al adl, the equitable justice. Were and astashhidu, you or seek, call to witness. Shahidaini, two witnesses. Min, from, of. Rijalikum, rijal, men. Rijal is the plural of rajulun. Kum, your. Rijalikum, your men. Fa in, for, so. In, if. Lam, do not. Yakuna, they too are. They too be are. Sunun alifna, yakuna is dual. In Arabic, you know, there is wahid, and then it is dual, and then jama. Okay, but in English only singular plural, but in Arabic singular, dual, and then plural. So na is dual. They two, be are. Rajulaini, two men. Yanun also shows us two. Rajulaini, two men. For rajulun, for then rajulun, a man. Rijal is plural, the first word of the line, first line, and rajul is singular, a man. Okay. Vamraatani, were and amraatani, two women. See this here also, ani tell us two women. Okay, dual. Wahid and then tasniya, dual is tasniya in Arabic, tasniya and jama. Jama is plural. Mimman, min, from, man, whom. Tardona, you all approve, agree upon. Minash shuhadai, min, from, ashuhadai, the two witnesses. Unless that not. Tadilla, she makes error, she makes errors, strays, forgets. Ihdahuma, one of them. Two, huma is again two. Okay, two women. Fatadhakkira, so tuzakkira, she reminds. Ihdahuma, one of them. Two. Al-ukhra, the other. Were and la, should not. Yaba, he refused. Ash-shuhadau, the witnesses. Iza, when. Ma, ever. Du'u, they were called. Were and la, do not. Tasamu, you all feel burdened. Be averse, offended. Wow, alif shows jama, okay, plural. And that. Taktubuhu, taktub, you all write. Who, it. Taktubuhu, you all write it. Saghiran, as small. Au, or. Kabiran, as big. Ila, to, till. Ajalihi, ajal is time period. He, its. Ajalihi, its time period. Dhalikum, that. O you all. Aqsatu, is most just, fair. In the, near, with. Allahi, of Allah. Were and aqwamu, most firm, established. Lishahadati, for the evidence, testimony. Were and adna, nearest. Dunya, you know why you call dunya? Because it's dunya is in front of you, it's near. So adna, nearest. Allah, that not. Tartabu, it was an la, alif fatah noon, an lam, alif fatah la, an la. So now it is joined, so it is Allah, that not. Tartabu, ta or artabu, you doubt. Ta, you. Artabu, doubt. Tartabu, you all doubt. Illa, except. An, that. Takuna, it, she is, be. Tijaratan, a trade, buying and selling. Sorry, I didn't show you the screen. Okay, li shahadati, for the evidence, testimony. Were and adna, nearest. Allah, that not. It was Allah. Okay, Allah, that not tartabu, you all doubt, illa, except an, that takuna, if she is be tijaratan, a trade, buying and selling, hadiratan, one present on the spot, tudirunaha. So you are all hadir, right? You are all hadir, you are all present, okay? Tudirunaha, to you, diru, circulate, diruna, circulate, ha, it, her. Tudiruna, you all circulate it, her. Bainakum, baina, between, kum, you all. Falaysa, fa, so, laysa, it is not. Alaykum, upon you all. Junahun, a sin. Allah, that not. Taktubuha, you all write it, her. Wa ashhidu, wa, and ashhidu, you all take witness. Iza, when tabayatum, you all traded with each other. Wala, were, and okay, anyone, if one of you, if I forget screen, please let me know. Were and la, should not. Yudara, he, be harmed. Katibun is from darar. The root word is dwar, ra, darar, to harm. Katibun, a scribe, one who writes. Were and la, not. Shahidun, a witness, one who witnesses. Were and in, if tafaluta, you all, falu, do. Tafalu, you all do. فَإِنَّهُ, for then, inna, indeed, who, it. فَإِنَّهُ, in then, indeed, it. Fusuqun, is a sin. Bikum, with you all. Wa, and attaqu, you all safeguard, adopt taqwa, be conscious of Allah, Allah. Wa, and yu'allimukum, he teaches you all, Allah, Allah. Wallahu, wa, and Allah, wa, and Allahu, Allah, bikulli, is with all, every, shay'in, of things, alimun, one, always, all knower. Okay, now running translation. Oh, you have believed, when you contract a debt for a specified term, ajalu musamman, write it down and let a scribe write it between you in justice. Okay. Let no scribe refuse to write as Allah has taught him, so let him write, and let the one who has the obligation dictate, and let him fear Allah, his Lord, and not leave anything out of it. But if the one who has the obligation is of limited understanding or weak or unable to dictate himself, then let his guardian dictate it in justice, and bring to witness two witnesses from among your men. And if there are not two men available, then a man and two women from those whom you accept as witnesses, so that if one of the women errs, then the other can remind her. And let not the witnesses refuse when they are called upon. And do not be too weary to write it, whether it is small or large, for its specified term, that is more just in the sight of Allah, and stronger as evidence, and more likely to prevent doubt between you, except when it is an immediate transaction which you could conduct among yourselves, for then there is no blame upon you if you do not write it. And take witnesses when you conclude a contract. Let no scribe be harmed, or any witness. For if you do so, indeed it is grave disobedience in you. And fear Allah, and Allah teaches you, and Allah is knowing of all things. This is the longest ayah called AYAT E DAYN. Dayn mean loan. Okay. Okay. First, let's listen to the recitation, and then we'll start the tafsir explanation, inshallah. Okay. Let's listen to the recitation. See the ayah and listen to the recitation. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
وليكتب بينكم كاتب بالعدل ولا يأب كاتب أن يكتب كما علمه الله فليكتب وليملل الذي عليه الحق وليتق الله ربه ولا يبخس منه شيئا فإن كان الذي عليه الحق سفيها أو ضعيفا أو لا يستطيع أن يمل هو فليملل وليه بالعدل واستشهدوا شهيدين من رجالكم فإن لم يكونا رجلين فرجل وامرأتان ممن ترضون من الشهداء أن تضل إحداهما فتذكر إحداهما الأخرى ولا يأبى الشهداء إذا ما دعوا ولا تسأموا أن تكتبوه صغيرا أو كبيرا إلى أجله ذلكم أقسط عند الله وأقوم للشهادة وأدنى ألا ترتابوا إلا أن تكون تجارة حاضرة تديرونها بينكم فليس عليكم جناح ألا تكتبوها وأشهدوا إذا تبايعتم ولا يضار كاتب ولا شهيد وإن تفعلوا فإنه فسوق بكم واتقوا الله ويعلمكم الله والله بكل شيء عليم.
Okay. Okay, now let's start the tafsir, inshallah. Okay. So this is the longest ayah. It's called AYAT E DAYN. Dayn mean loan. You see here, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu iza tadayantum. O believers, when you deal with each other, bidainin ila ajalim musamman faktubuhu. When you deal with each other in lending for a fixed period of time. So tadayantum and bidainin. See then tadayantum. They here also the root word is dal yanun dain, and then again with a det bidainin dal yanun dain. So this is longest ayah called AYAT E DAYN. Dayn means loan, and we see that it is the longest ayah in the Quran. So here there is not much screen, okay? So you just pay attention to the ayah and try to understand the explanation, tafsir, okay? Just listening. It is the longest ayah in the Quran. Is not an ayah that tell us how we should perform prayer or give zakat or how we should do hajj. In fact, it is teaching us how we should lend and borrow. Lend and borrow what? Money. See, in our deen, Allah has given us rules that are related to ibadat, worship, rituals, prayers, fasting, hajj, umrah, akhlaqiyat. Akhlaqiyat means manners, okay? So we learn about speaking in a good way to people. We learn forgiving, repenting from Quran. Our muamalat are dealings with people, how we are to deal with one another. So Quran teaches us all these things. We are given rules, guidances about that. So remember, Islam is not just about prayer, charity, and good manners. What people think Islam is just praying, charity, good manners, but it teaches us how to deal. Islam is not just about prayer, charity, and good manners. It teaches us how to deal with people also. How you should borrow, how you should lend. Okay, so this is Ayat E DAYN. The rules we have been given achieve certain goals, maqasid, as in Sharia. There are objectives of Islamic law, and we should understand these. Number one, what are those? Preservation of life, certain rules given and things forbidden so that human life is preserved. Example, the law of qisas is in the Quran. preservation of religion. Example, guard our salah, especially middle prayer, the asr prayer. Even if you are going through divorce, people are in trouble, in difficulties, some divorce, or they have lost some, somebody died, or some business, they don't get jobs, or the business is failed. People are, when they are grieved, they are in trouble, there are hardships, they forget, praying. So Quran teaches us, pray even you are in difficulties. But in the difficulties, we should pray more. We should seek, help from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We see the Prophet Sallallahu, whenever he was in some difficulty, he used to pray 2 rakah. And Quran teaches us preservation of intellect, example, prohibition of alcohol, preservation of property, wealth, example, prohibition of theft, bribe, interest, preservation of lineage. After divorce, there is idda. Here is here it is preservation of property. Then what does then means? You give a loan for free, they have to return it back. Then is that you give and you get it back. So last ayahs we read last week, we came to know that interest, usury, riba is haram, right? So the Muslim, they don't take riba. So, and some people are those, they don't like sadaqah also, they don't take charity also. So in AYAT E DAYN teaches us in between, to adopt, to adopt something in between. Like if your interest is haram, and some people, they don't take charity also, so take a loan. Like we discussed last time, that we can, for education, for houses, we can take loan from the rich people in our, in society, relatives. Like parents can give, if they are rich, to education loan or any loan, and we can repay them back without any interest usually. Okay, so it is then, okay, in between thing is then debt. You take a loan, you take a debt. So then you give a loan for free and they have to return it back. Then is that you give and you get it back. Sadaqah is rewardable, riba is punishable, and then loan for free is permissible. We can take loan, okay? So then you see, bidainin dal ya noon, then dal ya noon, something that is lent to another person for a duration of time, and it is specific. Like you say, oh, give me education loan or house debt I'm taking for you, and you fix a time, also a specific time, that within 2 years, 4 years, I'll give you back, or when I finish my education, I'll give you back. So it is specific in the sense that payment of something is delayed until a certain time. Okay, so it is called then. Then is delayed payment, and it can take many forms. One is for the price of something you buy. It could be for wages. Example, you don't get paid every minute for working. You get paid after some time. This can also be in another form, like when you borrow money and from someone. All of this is part of then. Okay. Now, actually what happened in the last ayah, we learned that when the interest system is strictly prohibited and the emphasis is on charity, then in such a society, loans are very much needed, because interest is haram and not everyone can afford charity. Even if a person does not like to take charity, then only debt remains to meet his needs and wants. Therefore, the great reward of lending has been mentioned in the hadith. However, just as debt is an unavoidable necessity and also a cause of disputes, so in this verse, which is called AYAT E DAYN, and which is the longest verse of the Quran, Allah Almighty has given necessary instructions regarding the loan, so that this unavoidable need does not lead to fights and quarrels. An order has been given to fix the term. And the second thing is to write it down. When you take a debt, a loan, you write it down. And the third thing is to have 2 Muslims, man or 1 man, and 2 men and 2 women as witness. There should be 2 Muslims, men, to witness, okay, this debt or this loan or this deal. And if 2 men are not available, then 1 man and 2 women should be, should witness that deal. Okay. So what is meant by this is that he should write down the correct amount of money out of fear of Allah and not reduce it. Do not harm lender, the lender, the one who is giving the debt. If the borrower is mentally unsound, weak, feeble or weak, or is a child or is unable to dictate himself, let the wali, guardian of his interests, dictate for him. Okay, so we see, so he should dictate for him. The Quranic injunctions on loan, an important principle of the law of dealings or the law of contracts in modern legal terminology, has been taken up in the verses which we have, done the word-to-word translation, and we have listened to the recitation. So following this appears a specific principle of the general rules of the evidence. There are times when writing is the rage. The written word has taken the place of human speech. But think of the days of 1400 years ago when almost the entire business of the world was conducted verbally. The principle of writing and retaining documents did not just exist at that time. It was the Quran which first pointed out to its importance and said what is said in the ayah. Iza tadayantum bidainin ila ajalim musamman faktubuhu. When you transact a debt payable at a specified time, put it in writing. Two principles have been stated here. So what we should do whenever you take a debt, any, for house, for your education, so what you should do, you should write it down. Okay, so two principles have been stated here. These are Ya ayyuhallazina amanu is idha tadayantum bidainin ila ajalim musamman faktubuhu. So these are, what are the principles? Number one, a written document should be prepared while concluding a transaction on deferred payment basis so that it may be aware of in cases of error or refusal. So always write down. Okay, number one, when you take a debt, when you take a loan. Number two, while making a transaction on deferred payment basis, it is necessary that the due date of its payment should be determined, that I will pay you in such and such on such and such date. It is not permissible to defer the payment for an indefinite period of time because this can open the doors of dispute. This is why the Muslim jurists have stressed that the time limit so set should not have any ambiguity at all. It should specify the exact date and month. There should be nothing vague about it. For instance, the time of the harvesting of the crops cannot be fixed because the time of harvesting may vary subject to weather conditions. In a pre-Islamic era, they used to do that also. Before the harvesting time, they used to do this thing. Since writing was not common in those days, and even after writing has become so common, the majority of the world, since writing was not common in those days, and even after writing has become so common, the majority of the world population is the same as does not know how to write. It was possible for the scribe is a writer, okay, of the agreement to write down what was not intended, thereby causing undue loss or gain to one another or other party. Therefore, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Wal yaktub bainakum katibun bil adli, and let a scribe write it between you with fairness. Okay, so whenever you borrow any loan, any debt, you should write it down. Okay, okay. So here, firstly, the instruction given here requires that the scribe should not be prejudiced in favor of one of the parties. On the contrary, he should be impartial so that there remains no scope for doubt or concern for everyone. Secondly, the scribe was instructed to write justly. وَلْيَكْتُبْ بَيْنَكُمْ كَاتِبٌ بِالْعَدْلِ. What is bil-adl? With the equitable justice. So he should write. The scribe was instructed to write justly. Let him incur no permanent loss on himself by working for the vanishing gain of others. After that, the attention of the scribe has been drawn to the fact that Almighty has given him the ability to write, for which he can show his gratefulness by not refusing to write. So the scribe, whenever he's called, he shouldn't refuse that he's not going to write the deed. As to who should initiate the writing of the document, it was said, what it was said, وَلْيُمْلِلِ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِ الْحَقِّ, and the one who owes should give the dictation. Why? Because Almighty Allah has given him the ability to write, for which he can show his gratefulness, but by not refusing to write. So this is, the blessing that he can write. So he shouldn't refuse, when the debtor called him to write. Him or her, she or should write, okay? Then we see, for instance, if a person has made a purchase on credit, then he is the one who should dictate the entries of the document, because this will be a written agreement on his behalf in order to offset the possibility of any addition or deletion in the written document. It was said, then again, what is it? It is said, وَلْيَتَّقِ اللَّهَ رَبَّهُ وَلَا يَبْخَسْ مِنْهُ شَيْئًا. But he must fear Allah, his Lord, and should not curtail anything from it. And what the scribe should do, he should fear Allah, and he should write whatever is told to him, whatever is dictated, he should write. He should not curtail anything from it, right? And he should fear Allah. He shouldn't curtail anything. Okay. Sometimes it happens that the person, sometimes what happens that the person incurring debt is fickle-minded, okay, or superannuated in age, or a minor, or a child, or mute, or the speaker of a language not known to the scribe. Since such a person does not have the ability to dictate a document, it was said that in a situation like this, his wali or guardian should dictate the written agreement. You see, the second last line, فَلْيُمْلِلْ وَلِيُّهُ بِالْعَدْلِ. So in that situation, his wali or guardian should dictate the written agreement. The need for a guardian in respect of the insane and the minor is obvious, since all their affairs are handled through a guardian. The guardian of the mute or the speaker of the language unknown to the scribe could also do this. And should he make somebody his representative, it would still be possible. Here's the word wali in the Quran covers both meanings, right? Okay, these rules of witnessing. Upon this point, the statement was limited to the writing or dictating of documents in transactions. Later on, it is enlarged by saying that the writing of the document should not be taken as sufficient. It should rather have witnesses as well, so that in case there is a dispute, the appearance of witnesses in the court could help resolve it. This is why the Muslim jurists, may Allah's mercy be upon them, have said that simple writing of an agreement is not a conclusive proof in the sight of Islamic Sharia unless there is an oral evidence of witnesses as approved by the Sharia on the agreement. No decision could be taken on simple writing. Common courts of today also follow the same practice when they do not take a decision unless there is a verbal evidence to prove the document. The number of witnesses. Now follow some important rules of the evidence. It is necessary according to Islamic rules of evidence that there be 2 men or 1 man or 2 women. 1 man alone or only 2 women are not sufficient witnesses in common dealings. Okay. The qualification of witnesses. The witnesses should be Muslims. The Quranic expression min rijalikum, from among your men, points out this direction. The witnesses should be trustworthy and just, whose word could be relied upon. They should not be sinners and liars. And this injunction is contained in mimman tardawna minash shuhada. You see the second line, from those witnesses you are pleased with. Okay, who will be the witnesses? With whom we are pleased, with whom we are happy. We should appoint those as a witness. So when you are taking the loan, you should write it down. And if the one who cannot write, he should, call a scribe, the one who can write, and that scribe should never refuse that I am not writing, because this is the nema, blessings Allah has given him. The writing is also a blessing, so he should be grateful to Allah, and he should write when to two parties, one is giving the debt, another is taking the debt. He should go there and write when they call him, and then only the writing for the specific time of loan and debt is not enough. There should be two witnesses, and the witnesses from men. There should be two witnesses. Two men should witness. Okay, if two men are not available, then one man and two women will be witnessing that loan, that contract, that transactions. Okay, and min rijalikum, the witnesses should be Muslims, and from among your men, points out in this direction. The witness should be trustworthy and just, whose word could be relied upon. They should not be sinners and liars. If they are sinners and liars, you cannot trust them that what they are, witnessing. So, and Allah says this injunction is considered in mimman tardona min ash-shuhada'i, and from those witnesses you are pleased with. Okay, mimman tardona. Okay, then we see refusing the act of witnessing is a sin. After that, the Holy Quran directs the people that they should not refuse to be witnesses when it is required from them, since evidence is the way to revive truth and the method to resolve disputes. Even if there is a trouble in giving evidence, it should be tolerated. It should to be tolerated, taking it as a national duty. So witnessing is your national duty. Following that, emphasis was laid on writing down the document of deeds. It was said that the agreement, big or small, okay? If the agreement is, never mind, if the agreement is big or small, what should you do? You should not refuse them, okay? So refusing the act of witnessing is a sin. After that, the Holy Quran directs that people they should not refuse to be witnesses. Then it is required from them, since evidence is the way to revive the truth and the method to resolve disputes. Even if there is a trouble in giving evidence, it should be tolerated, taking it as a national duty. Following that, emphasis was laid on writing down the documents of deeds. It was said that the agreement, big or small, should invariably be written down, and be not loath to write it down, as payable as it at its time, no matter how short or long. See, you see the ayah. Wala ya'abash shuhadau izamadu. The witness should not refuse when he is called. Wala tas'amu an taktubuhu saghiran aw kabiran ila ajalihi. When they are called upon to do so, they should not refuse. You must not be averse to writing your contract, whether it is a small matter or big. Okay, don't say, oh, it's a small deal. They are just borrowing $200. I'm not going. No, Allah says you have to be witness, whether it is a small, debt or a long. Okay, of course. Of course, if there is a hand-to-hand transaction not involving any debt, it could be left unwritten. However, as a precautionary measure, two witnesses should be taken to confirm the agreement anyway, just in case there arises a dispute between the parties concerned. See, this is for our own benefit. You're taking the loan. If it is not written, we forget. If there are no witnesses, if the dispute arises, we can call the witness also, and they say, yeah, we were present. Then if there are two parties, right? One is giver and one is the taker. So if they forget, or there's an error, so the witnesses can say, and it is written also. You have got the written or proof also. No, it was not 200. Is what it was 100. If one says it was 100, the other say no, it was 200. If there are witnesses, they can witness that we were also present at that time. Once what happened that I was traveling from Saudi to my country, Pakistan. So what I did, I was traveling from Pakistan to somewhere else. So I gave my sister all my jewelry, right? And what she did, She wrote, she, started writing down 1, 2 chain, so many bangles, so many, sets of gold, this, that, so many gold coins. Oh my God. You know, I, I was amazed, and, I was surprised why she's writing. She's my sister. I trust her. And, when I came into Quran, when I was a student of Quran, and when I came to this, these ayahs, I said, oh, this is Allah has, guided us to write down the things, and there should be witness, and it should be written. I didn't like when my sister was writing. I said, oh, she's my sister. I trust her. And then one incident happened that my eldest daughter, I gave her, thick chain, a golden chain, and I like the design also. And when you buy gold from Saudi and Dubai, the designs are of course different, right? So it was quite different. So she used to, use that. Okay. Once she went to take a shower, and she left on the table in the room, and the maid was cleaning. I don't know. I won't, blame anybody. When she came out in Pakistan, when she came out, she couldn't find that chain, that golden chain on the table. Oh my God. Then I realized that if I would have died, and then, if my children, they, keep it somewhere and they lost it, or if it is stolen, or, anyway, it has gone somewhere, they would say, oh, and, my mom kept such and such thing. The other sister would come, the one who, forgets to tell the other sisters, to other daughters, that, oh, it was stolen. And the other sister would come, oh, my mom, before dying, told us that all the gold is with your auntie, with your khala. And then if something is missing, so it's good to write down. Okay. So there is, you avoid chances of dispute. And when you do, fight, when there is a dispute, then, you are, your relationship is spoiled. You are away from your, relative to whom you have given to your friend, or you to your relative. So it's good to write down, and there should be 2 witness. So, at home jewelry, it's okay. You give somebody and write down. But Allah says there should be, witnesses also. So just in case there arises a dispute between the parties concerned, for instance, and then when I came into, as a student of Quran, of Talimul Quran, when I, came to know this ayah, I was so happy that my sister did a good thing, and I was not liking it. So for instance, the seller may say that the price was not received, or the buyer may charge that he did not receive everything he bought. Evidence of witnesses will serve well in deciding this dispute. Okay. Which is why, see, Allah has, guided us in all our, walks of life. So witnesses should not suffer. When the verse began, scribes were instructed not to refuse writing or testifying agreements. In this case, it was possible that people would give them more trouble than necessary. Therefore, it was said towards the end of the verse, what it is said, Wala yudara katibun wala shahidun, and neither scribe nor witness should be harmed. So we have a scribe also who writes, and 2 witnesses also there. So they shouldn't be harmed. It means that in order to protect one's own rights and benefits, one should not disturb the rights and benefits of others. Then it was said, فَإِن تَفْعَلُوا فَإِنَّهُ فُسُوقٌ بِكُمْ, that if you do that, it means if you harm the witness and the scribe, so what will happen? And if you find tafalu, if you do so, فَإِنَّهُ فُسُوقٌ بِكُمْ, it is certainly a sin on your part. So they shouldn't be disturbed, and they shouldn't be harmed, the scribe and the witness, because it is a sin. So we shouldn't do that. Then it is said that this tells us that causing harm to the scribe or the witness is prohibited. They are working for us, they write for us, they are witnesses also, they are witnesses, witness our, transactions also. So for this reason, the Muslim jurists have said that the scribe who demands his wages while writing, or the witness who claims his legitimate 2-way conveyance allowance, are entitled to get it as a matter of their right. So if they, coming from far off distance, so you can pay them their, fare, because they come from far off places, and according to your, city or place, how much Uber charges, how much bus or train charges. So if they claim, they are entitled to get it. Okay. No, not paying these dues is included under the scope of harming them and is therefore impermissible. No doubt, under its system of justice, Islam has forced the witness to appear in court, has made the concealment of evidence a grave sin. So he should, if there's a dispute arise, the witness should go to the court also. But at the same time, the other side of the picture has also been duly taken care of, so that people are not made to stay away from testifying. It was the effect of this two-way precaution that truthful and selfless witnesses were available in every case, and cases were decided easily and quickly, true to the demand of justice. And what happened when the modern world bypassed this Quranic principle, the whole court system went to pieces. Real and true witnesses in cases became virtually extinct. Everyone was compelled to shy away from appearing as a witness. The reason is simple. Why they were shy? Being identified as witness means trouble. If the case involves the police and a crime, the chief of the police station would call the witness every day and any time, and on occasions would have him sit there for hours, and it was wasting their time also. So even in civil courts, the witness is treated as if he was some sort of criminal. Then the dates of the case keep changing endlessly. New dates are given on which the poor witness is bound to come, leaving his business, his job, and needs. If he fails, the threat of an arrest warrant hang over his head. Therefore, every decent person engaged in earning his livelihood has been forced to take the appearance in court as punishment for no crime of his, and therefore he has been left with no choice but to avoid it as far as he can. Professional witnesses are all you get, and they make no distinction between the lie and the truth, because nowadays professional witnesses are available, so they lie also, and they are not true. So the Holy Quran, after emphasizing these basic ingredients, helps eliminate these malpractices by saying at the end of the verse, wattaqullah, that fear Allah, wa yu'allimukumullah, and Allah teaches you, wallahu bikulli shay'in alim, and Allah is all knowing in respect of everything. So it will be noted that this verse carries many injunctions. Some Muslim jurists have deduced 20 important juristic rulings from this verse. We should also keep in mind the recurring style of the Quran, whereby before and after giving a particular law, it creates an inner impulse to follow divine injunctions by introducing the fear of Allah and the fear of the day of retribution. It is in accordance with this matter that the verse was concluded with an exhortation to fear Allah and to remember that there is nothing hidden from Him. If you try any contravention under any impermissible pretext whatsoever, you will still remain unable to cheat Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? Now what we see, now I'll show on screen. Again, we'll do these ayah. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu iza tadayantum bidainin dal ya noon is the root word, dain is a loan. Okay, I told you that usually interest is prohibited, it's haram. So, and some people, they don't take charity also. So there's a thing in between, is dain. Dain is a loan. We can take a loan, we can take a debt. Oh, you have believed, when you mutually contract a loan. Actually, we'll contract a loan, right? When you borrow from somebody, you will say, give me $1,000 or $20,000 for my education, or $400,000, I'm buying a house. So you make a contract, right, for that loan, for a debt. So two parties are involved, one party giving loan and other taking it. Then you must, set some rules that are listed here. This is the longest ayah, called AYAT E DAYN. Then mean loan. Okay. Then mean loan. So dal ya noon. something that is lent to another person for a duration of time. It is specific in the sense that payment of something is delayed until a certain time. So we both will fix the time, right? So many years, so many months, whatsoever. So then is delayed payment, and it can take many forms. One is for the price of something you buy. It could be for wages. Example, you don't get paid every minute for working. You get after a week or after a month. You get paid after some time. This can also be in another form, like when you borrow money from someone. All of this is part of then. And Allah says, ila ajalim musamman, wow, seen, meme. Okay, the root word is wow, seen, meme, wasam. Wasam is to put a mark on something, so something that is specified, that is defined. So the term is defined, it should be fixed. Okay, it should be fixed. So what after that, what we will do? Faktubuhu, you are fixed. Okay, there are two people, one is lending the money, one is taking the money, and the time is also fixed. Now faktubuhu, and you must write it down, you must have it in writing. So write, keep in your mind the points, and if you are hiba, anybody is writing, so write down. One is the giver, one is taking the debt, one is giving the debt, one is taking the debt or the loan, and then you will write it down. Okay, and you will fix the amount. Then who should write? Wal yaktub bainakum katibun bil adl, and let a scribe, a katibun, a scribe will write it. How he will write? Between you in justice, bil adl, he will write with justice. Okay, at that time not everyone was able to write, and also even now not everyone understands legal financial statements. So there are some people who are professionally trained for this work. So this katib, this scribe is someone who has the professional knowledge with, so bil adl means with justice. He will write bil adl, with justice. He should write everything accurately, should write correct details. That's how many, what is the amount, what is the time period, okay, and when he will give back, should write correct details with fairness and accuracy. So he should write down what is Islamically correct also. If it deals with riba, for example, that is not okay. He should not disobey Allah in writing that document. That scribe is not going to write when two persons are dealing with riba, with usury with interest. Okay, he should not disobey Allah, because riba is haram. Writing riba, being a scribe for that, being a witness for that, it is haram. So he should fear Allah and do not, do that deal. Okay. Wala yaba katibun ain yaktuba kama allamahullah. Let no scribe refuse to write. Yaba is refuse. So a katibun is a scribe. Let no scribe refuse to write as Allah has taught him, because Allah has taught him to write. So he shouldn't refuse. This is the blessing. He should be grateful. Writing is also, being grateful. If somebody calls you and you can write, you can go. So you are grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this blessing. So yaba, hamza, ba, ya is the root word. Scribe should not refuse to write down document for someone, especially in communities where not everyone knows how to read and write, and everyone is coming to you. And when somebody comes to you, you may feel irritated that, I have the knowledge of this, I know this ilm, this knowledge, and people are coming to me. We shouldn't be irritated, but Allah is telling us that this person should not refuse. What is Allah telling? Wala yaba katibun. This scribe, this person who knows to write shouldn't refuse. And at the time, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, all the people were not literate. All of them couldn't write. There were only few, right? So he should use his skills, knowledge to write down. So point is, you ask for help, and other people also ask for help from you. So don't get irritated when people ask you for help, because here Allah is commanding us that, what is that? Wala yaba katibun an yaktuba kama allamahullah. Let no scribe refuse to write as Allah has taught him. because Allah has taught you, it is a gift from Allah, so you shouldn't refuse to write down. Okay, so there's a hadith of Abu Dharr radiallahu anhu. He asked what say from Prophet Sallallahu, what saves a person from hellfire. The Prophet Sallallahu said, Al Iman Billah. He asked, is there an action of Iman about the things mentioned? The Prophet Sallallahu said, no, does any of these things except that I will hold it. Prophet Sallallahu told him that you should, help others. So he said that no, does any of these things except that I will hold his hand until he is admitted into Jannah. Prophet Sallallahu is telling that, if he help Allah, Prophet Sallallahu is hold his hand until he is admitted to Jannah. So this hadith shows us that if a person uses their skill to help, so Allah will make him among the, Allah will send him to Jannah. He will abide in Jannah if he helps somebody. Okay, so the ayah says, فَلْيَكْتُبْ وَلْيُمْلِلِ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِ الْحَقُّ وَلْيَتَّقِ اللَّهُ رَبُّهُ وَلْيَتَّقِ اللَّهَ رَبَّهُ فَلْيُكْتُبْ. So let him write. وَلْيُمْلِلِ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِ الْحَقُّ, and let the one who has the obligation, debtor, dictate. Okay, وَلْيَتَّقِ اللَّهَ رَبَّهُ, and let him fear Allah. So yumlil, mim lam lam is the root word. Yumlil means to dictate. So mim lam lam, to dictate. Wala yabkhas minhu shay'an, so his Lord, and not leave anything out of it. He should fear Allah, and let him fear Allah, his Lord, and not leave anything out of it. Yabkhasi, wala yabkhas. Okay, yabkhas is the root word is bakhasin, to reduce or diminish. So he should fear Allah when he's writing. He shouldn't reduce anything. He shouldn't diminish anything. He should be true. He should be honest, and he should write whatever he is told to write. فَإِنْ كَانَ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِ الْحَقُّ سَفِيهًا أَوْ ضَعِيفًا, but if the one who has the obligation is of limited understanding or weak, safi is someone who does not know how to spend their money. Like safihan is the singular, and you have read in Juz 2, sayaqulu sufaha. So sufaha is plural of sahifan, foolish one. And here safi is someone who does not know how to spend their money. Or daifan, someone who does not know how to spend their money. Daif, for example, is a child. Okay, أو لا يستطيع أن يمل هو فليملل وليه بالعدل, or unable to dictate himself, then he let his guardian dictate in justice. So if someone is feeble, someone is a child, someone cannot write, he or she doesn't know how to write, so and he's unable to dictate himself, then let his guardian dictate in justice. So not the one who is not able to speak, for example, does not know how to speak or speak a different language, then the wali will dictate the terms with justice and according to what is Islamically correct also, right? Correct also. And wastashhidu, now, so one is a giver, one is the one who is taking loan, then it should be written, and the specified time should also be written, and the time is written, then there should be a witness. If there is the two men should be witness. If one man is available, then one man and two women should be witness. And wastashhidu shahidaini min rijalikum, bring two witnesses from among your men. Shahidaini means two witness. Okay, min rijalikum, from among your men. So shahidain, dual of shahid, and rijalikum, plural of rajul. Okay, besides the creditor and the debtor, two men have to witness this transaction. Notice it says your man, means they should be Muslim, should be. And what does your mean? Your man means they should be Muslim, should be an adult, has to be a man, not a woman. Okay, shahidain, plural of shahid. فَإِن لَمْ يَكُونَا رَجُلَيْنِ فَرَجُلٌ وَإِمْرَأَتَانِ مِمَّنْ تَرْضَوْنَ مِنَ الشُّهَدَاءِ. فَإِن لَمْ يَكُونَا, and if there are Rajulaini, if there are not two men, for Rajulun, not two men available, then a man, wa amraatani, and two women, tardona min ash-shuhadai, from those whom you accept as witness. The witnesses that you choose should be people you are pleased with. They should be reliable. They should have a good reputation. They should be credible. Then you appoint them as a witness. An tudilla ihdahuma fatuzakkira ihdahuma al-ukhra. So that if one of the women errs, then the other can remind her. So now see, the two women, there's a wisdom, great wisdom in this. If one woman, why two women, one man and two women? Because if one woman forget, then the other woman would remind her. The two women, there's a great wisdom in this. And unfortunately, we see in many societies, women are not treated fairly. When it comes to the financial matters, when they deserve something, they are not given it. We see in our society, example, when today women is fighting for equal pay, and we see that at many times in financial matters, women are bullied and pressurized, even at job places. So many times they are deprived of their rights. So courts also legal place where women may be bullied into doing something she does not agree with. So when she is given the support of a friend, if there are two women, she is given the support of a friend, of someone she knows, this will ensure the woman will not be pressurized into doing something wrong because she is alone. And even we see the girls. Even my girls, while my daughters were small, they were young, I used to tell them, two sisters go together into the bathroom when we go to the picnic, or out of the house after we are on a picnic or some other places, in the shopping malls. I always told my daughters, two sisters go together, don't go alone in the bathroom also. So why the girls have to go to the bathroom with their friends? And it happened, I told my two daughters, go together, right? So they both of them went together. First, they were surprised why I'm telling them. They came out and said, Mom, thank God we two were together. We were in the bathroom and the cleaner came. Sometimes, they forget, or, some the time, is different. So, which is why two women should be in the bathroom. There should be two friends or two sisters should go. So, okay. Also remember that has to be one man and two women. If two men are not available, first, the witnesses should be two men. If there is one man, it's at some place. So remember, that has to be one man and two women, and not four women, right? And Quran is for all places and times. Remember, this is only in the case of then, and it does not mean that a woman's testimony is half of that of a man. Only in the case of then, in the case of loan, in the case of death, it just means she has the support of another woman. In other cases, her testimony will be taken. And we see in the time of Uthman radiallahu anhu, Uthman radiallahu anhu was the third caliph after the death of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. First caliph of Hazrat Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, second was Hazrat Umar radiallahu anhu, third caliph was Uthman radiallahu anhu. See, we see in the time of Uthman radiallahu anhu time, a woman claimed that she nursed two people who were getting married, and her testimony was accepted, and that marriage wasn't allowed. In Islam and pre-Islamic time, also at the time of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it was the trend in Saudi Arabia at that time that the newborn was sent to a nursing, a wet nurse. They were sent to a wet nurse, and she used to breastfeed them, right? So many children were sent. So if the children, those who the wet nurse has fed them, they are now brothers and sisters, right? So they are not going to be married. So in the time of Usman, a woman claimed that a boy and a girl were getting married. So a woman claimed that she nursed two people who were getting married, and her testimony was accepted, and that marriage wasn't allowed because they were the nursing brothers and sisters. So brothers and sisters cannot marry. So her testimony was accepted. So wala ya bashuhadau izamadu and let not the witness refuse when they are called upon. Okay, they shouldn't refuse. Wala tusamu an taktubuhu sagiran or kabiran ila ajali. I know you all are writing points, and I'll ask you how many points you were there. And so don't get scared. If you're not writing, it's okay. If you are listening, or then also it's okay. And do not be too weary. Wala tusamu an taktubu. And do not be too weary to write it. An taktubu saghiran or kabiran, whether it is small or large, ila ajalihi, for its specified time. And do not be too weary to write it, whether it is small or large, for its specified time. Whether small or big, if payment is delayed, then write it down. Zalikum aqsatu indallahi wa aqwamu lishahadati. Zalikum aqsatu indallahi, that is more just in the sight of Allah, wa aqwamu lishahadati, and stronger as evidence. So it is stronger when it is written, and where the witnesses are also present, and everything is written, the amount, what was the amount, when it will be paid, after how many years, after how many months, the time period also, and the amount also, and the witnesses are also there. Okay. And then Allah says, وَأَدْنَا Allah tartabu, and more likely to prevent doubt between you. And tartabu, you see, reb, the root word is ra, yaba, reb. You have read the word reb also in the beginning of Suratul Baqarah. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alif Lam Mim, Zalikal Kitabu La Rayba Fi. This is the book, there is no doubt in it. Reb is doubt. So, and more likely, وَأَدْنَا Allah tartabu. So the tartabu, root word is rayaba, right, doubt, and more likely to prevent doubt between you. So all these things prevent doubt also. Illa antakuna tijaratan hadiratan turidunaha bainakum, except when it is an immediate transaction which you conduct among yourself. Falaysa alaykum junahun Allah taktubuha, for then there is no blame upon you if you do not write it. Okay, if you do not write it. So when the payment is delayed, safer to put it in writing. Okay, now this, from this verse we come to know that except when it is an immediate transaction which you could conduct among yourselves, for then there is no blame upon you if you do not write it. Like you go to the grocery shop, like you go to some grocery shop and you purchase something, you purchase your monthly grocery or weekly grocery, so you don't write. There is no katib, no writer, no scribe, no witnesses. It's okay. There is no blame upon you if you do not write it. But they give you the bill, right? They give you the bill if you pay cash or if you use your credit card or debit card. So for these sorts of things, we don't go and write, okay? And we don't have any witness. So it's okay. So except when it is an immediate transaction which you conduct among yourselves, like going to any shop, grocery shops, Old Navy, Macy's, anywhere. So it's okay. For them, there is no blame upon you if you do not write it. So when the payment is delayed, safer to put it in writing. And when the transaction is a spot transaction, no harm if you don't write it down. Right? I told you the places we go for day to day, for the perishable item and for a grocery and for meat and for mince and anything. Ashidu iza tabayatum, and take witnesses when you conclude a contract. You take a den or loan. So here you see the word tabayatum is be, ba, ya, and be. Be is the root word, is referring to commercial contract, business, trade. For example, place an order over the phone, should have witness. This is recommended but not mandatory. Is tabayatum wala yudara katibun wala shahid. Let no scribe be harmed or any witness. The scribe and the witness should not cause harm to the creditor or to the debtor. Okay. To the creditor or the debtor. For example, not showing up to court witness. Scribe, for example, if he does not write things clearly on the purpose, the scribe and the witness should not be harmed by the creditor and debtor. Example, scribe is threatened, you better make that change in the document or such and such will happen. We shouldn't do that. Once they have written, whatever is, written in the presence of the creditor and the debtor, he shouldn't be threatened. The scribe shouldn't be threatened that you change it, otherwise this will happen to you, I'll harm you in this or such and such way. For example, witness is bribed. There are two witnesses and you bribe them that you say in favor for me, I'm going to deceive, this amount was not 200, that was not 100, that was 200, so, and I'll give you such and such, I'll give you $10 or $15. So they shouldn't, the witness should also not be bribed. These are ways in which people are harmed. The scribe and the witnesses are harmed. In the hadith we learn, man dara'ullahu bihi, whoever causes harm, Allah will cause him harm. The gist of the hadith. So don't cause harm to other people. Okay, then wala shahidun wa in tafalu fa innahu fusuqum bikum. For if you do so, indeed it is grave disobedience in you. So we shouldn't cause harm to them, to the witness or to the scribe that say, you change the wordings, you say no, it was not 100, is for 200, and and you should bribe them. No bribing, no threatening them that if you don't say what I am telling you, I will harm you in such and such way or something like that. So wala shahidun wa in tafalu fa innahu fusuqun bikum. For if you do so, if it do this, indeed it is grave disobedience in you. We should be true. We shouldn't bribe them. We shouldn't tell them to change the wordings, because it is a disobedience and it's a grave sin. And we should fear Allah. If you do that, this is a sin on your part, harming yourself. In fact, we are harming ourselves. We'll be sinful and Allah will punish us. Wattaqullah, and fear Allah. Wa yu'allimukumullahu, and Allah teaches you. Allah teach everything. See in the Quran. We think that this Quran, this deen is about all worshipping and the rituals, the Hajj, the Zakah, fasting. But Allah teaches us even our transactions also. This ayat e dayn, how to take loan, how to write, how the witness should be, and we should be true, we should fear Allah. Wallahu bi kulli shay'in alim, and Allah is knowing of all things. Fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah is the one who has taught you everything that you know. Allah is the one who has given you these rules, so follow them. Inshallah, may Allah make us from those who follow what Allah has commanded us, and refrain ourselves from which Allah has told us not to do. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Allah bestow us Jannatul Firdausul A'la and save us from the torment of hellfire. So there is a hadith for the witness. Narrated Zayd bin Khalid al-Juhani. The Prophet said, shall I not inform you who is the best witness? He is the one who produces his testimony before he is asked for it. So be witness, never refuse to be a witness or to be a scribe. While somebody call you, when he's borrowing some money or some loan from somebody. Okay, inshallah. So we conclude here. Barakallahu fi ilmik wa amalik wa rizqukum wa awqatukum wa ahlukum wa ma'alukum. May Allah increase you and me in our risk, sustenance, in our time, in our family, in our properties. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. Oh Lord, accept this from us. Indeed, you are the hearing, the knowing. Ameen. Ameen. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. Jazakallahu khairan kathiran kathira. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Okay, now I would love to take your reflection. So will be first tabiqul khairat, will be the first one.
Assalamu alaikum.